Kakalosh Boker or Masechet Chullin Daf Yomi Daf Samech Zayin. We're doing 67 today. It's going to be some Zayin Amud Aleph. Here we're talking about, we were speaking about, do you remember that what happens if you have two klals right beside each other, two generalizations right beside each other? So what do you do? So we said, we throw the prat in between them, we throw the specification in between them, and then we judge it like a klal ufrat uchlal. So let's see the Gemara. Some Zayin Amud Aleph, 67a. B'mayim is a klal. Bayamim, which is in water. Bayamim and Nechalim is a specification, which body of water. In the Yamim and the Nechalim, right? In the seas, in the flows of water, of the springs. Prat, that's going to be the specification. B'mayim, again, is another klal. So klal ufrat uchlal, e'atadan eleken prat. Ma prat, just like the prat is mefurash ma'im novim, of kol ma'im novim, so too any flowing body of water. Ma'irabe, what is it going to come to include? It's coming to include, right, the Issur, into the Issur charitzin v'nitzin. That also is going to be a problem, right? That means it's going to be a sur if they're going to be growing without snapir v'kaskesen. What is it coming to exclude? Right, that it's not novea. So therefore it's not like the waters of the Yamim and the Chalim. And therefore the ones that grow in there do not need snapir v'kaskeset. Even without that, it's going to be permitted. So ask the Gemara ve'ema. So why don't I just say ma prat? Just like the prat is going to be mefurash ma'im agdelim agabe karka, so too ma'im gdelim agabe karka. Umay rabbe, what is it coming to include? Afilu barot shechir morot liisura. Umay miet kelim. So says the Gemara im kenem. So yeah, he says, what does it mean tochelu? Maya hanale. What is it going to come and it's going to help? So the Rabbi Ishmael Tana, the Rabbi Ishmael are going to come and they're going to say, B'mayim, shete pe'amim. And when it says b'mayim, it's two different times. Enze klal ufrat. It's not going to be a klal ufrat. Ela riba u'miet. It's a ribu muyut. B'mayim is riba. B'yamim nechalim miyut. B'mayim chazav riba u'miet riba kol. My rabbe, what does it mean rabbe now? Charitzin u'nitzin li'isura. Yeah, so it's going to be charitzin u'nitzin. My miet, what is a mute? Borot shekinu me'arol le'teida. So says the Gemara, Ema, why don't I just say my riba? What did it come to include? It's coming to include to exclude kelim. So says the Gemara, if so, tochelu, why do you need the word tochelu then? So says the Gemara, veipuchana. Why don't I just make it afuch? The Tana Matatiya bar Yuda. Why are you coming to include borot shechim me'arol le'teida and to take out the charitzin v'nitzin li'isura? Why don't I say the other way around? Kekelim, that they're going to be closed like a keli, like a utensil. And I'm going to exclude charitzim v'nitzin, shenatzurim kekelim, which means that there's going to be a knisa v'yitziyah. So says the Gemara, hay situm v'hay mefurash, which is a heter and which is mefurash. So pligi ba ravachav ravina, chad amar one says yesh lo mefurash v'yesh lo satum, v'chad amar yesh lo mefurash v'yesh lo satum. My tam adamam, what's the one that says yesh lo mefurash? Amar lecha minehu dekamishru kelim, because it's going to permit the kelim. My tam adam en lo mefurash. The high, he comes and he says, "Udekamocha chahaich." Tiima haich avaminu bekelim afagav diit lenami lo techul. So Amar Ravuna says, "Lo lishpe inish shichra betzivyata beurta." A person should not come and drink in the nighttime shechar of tmarim, because there's a lot of tolaim inside and you can't really see it. Dilma parish leil mitzivyata vada nafile kasa, because maybe it could be that the tolat is going to come out of the shechar and then go back inside. Meaning once it came out and came back inside, now it's going to be prohibited. If so, nami also in a utensil. Again, the same thing, it's going to come out and come back inside from this kli. So he says, that's where it actually grew. Meaning if it grew there, it's a different halacha. Many times if it grows inside, it's a different halacha than if it actually comes out and goes back inside. How do you know? The Tanya was learned on the right. So says the Gemara, right? And then it's going to come in. So he says, Ela, but rather, hainu reviteh, hachanam enu reviteh. Amar le Rav Chasta le Ravuna. So says Rav Chasta to Ravuna, Tanya de Biselach, we're going to bring a proof to you, a brighter that's going to prove to you. You have chushim, these are type of like yidushim of flies. Not only because you actually sieve, you put it through a sieve. right? If not, it's going to be permitted. So Shmuel says, what about kishut shitliya? Kishut is like a type of like a cucumbers that got all tolaim, right? So 67b, be'ah, right? When it's still connected to the ground. So Lema Misayele, why don't we just say that this is going to be a proof where it says Tani Chad al Haaretz, Otzi et Azizin Shabadashim, Vet Yushim V'Klisim, V'Tolat Shabatunim V'Gurot. Tani Yadech Lechol Sheretz Shoretz al Haaretz is coming to include the Tolat Shabikre Zitim V'Kre Gavanim. Are we not talking about that this is going to be in the Perot? So he says no. Idi be'ah. We're talking about when it's still connected to the ground. Okay? So he says, V'la kashad, it's not a question. One of them is actually in the fruit, and one of them is going to be in the tree in itself. Okay? So by Rav Yosef comes and he asks the following question. Peresha umeta, if the tulat comes and separates, and then it dies, what is the halacha? So miksata mahu, what is going to be if it's only going to be a little bit of it? La avida olam mahu, or if it's going to be come out to the avida olam, teku, we don't have an answer. So by Ravashi comes and he asks the following question. Legag timara mahu, what happens if the tulat came and it was matzliya inside of the pri of the tamar? Legagarita mahu, mitmara litmara, or from one tamar to another tamar, take, we don't have an answer. So Amar Rav Shishat says Rav Shishat bered Rav Idi, kukyane asire, tolaim, which are inside of the kaved and the re'ah, so inside of the livers and the lungs of the animal, you're not allowed to eat them. Maitama, me'al matu, because it came from the outside. So matkif Ravashi me'al matu, it came from the outside, so it should come out through the food. So he says, it's going to be permitted. Maitama mine gavle, because it came from the actual basar of the animal. So Ravashi pshita de miyalma if it came from the outside, so for sure it's going to come through the excrement, basically, meaning that it will come out. Meaning, how did it go in and all of a sudden just go around the body? What is the halacha? Kukyan is a sire. My tama, what's reasoning? Minam naim va'ele. When it's sleeping, the Torah goes through its nose, and from there it goes to the re'ah. It goes to the lungs, right? And it goes from there also to the kaved, to the liver. So it does come from the outside, but it doesn't come through the mouth and then goes through the betarei and everything. It goes through the nose. Darne de bisra, tolaim, which are going to be in between the skin of the animal and the flesh. Aside, it's going to be asur. The kaver is shalim, but it's going to be of the dagim. It's going to be permitted. If I'm going to find these things that you're going to prepare me, he says, right, I'm going to eat them. Right, but he says, but I don't want to see them, basically, because the dug is going to become bad in my eyes. I'm going to look at the fish. I'm going to say, ugh, and I'm going to like it. So Elmaleh Rav Meshashia beRavachal Ravina, Ma'ishtama Detanya, when Ivlatam Tishaket, we're about the dinarim, right? Diranim Shabbebe'ema, even the tolaim of the be'ema, that they're going to be asur ba'achila, right? That means even though they didn't separate, it's still going to be asur, right? So he says, Elmaleh Achiyasha, can you compare them? Be'ema b'shchita ou d'mishtaria. Bema, you do shechita and that's it. Here, since doesn't help shechita, it's still going to be asur. Aval dagim, remember by fish, you gather them together. You don't have to do shechita. So when the tolaim are going to have these tolaim inside of the fish, it's actually be'eter. So Tanu Rabbanan, we went to the right. Olecha gachon is the nachash, right? That is going on its stomach. Kol is coming to include the shilshul, which is a very long tolat. Right, Rabbi is coming to include the akrav, the scorpion. Chololech is coming to include the chipushit. Okay, chipushit. I don't know what this chipushit is. A beetle. A beetle is a chipushit. Vet domele chipushit is marbe raglaim. Right, so he says marbe raglaim is a nadal type of a sheretz. What is that? Nadal. Centipede. Okay. Ad kol lerabot dome ודומה לדומה. והעתניא רבי יוסף בן דורמסקי תומה, לוויתן זה דג טהור. שנאמר גבה אפיקי מגינים, תחתיו חידושי חרס, אפיקי מגנים לקשקשים שבו. ותחתיו חדודי חרס, אלו סנפירים שפורח בהן. It is going to actually come and it's going to use, and it's a dag tahor. Hadran alach, Elu terefot.